been so long.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm great. I'm great to, glad to be here in this
Thank you
place.
yes,
It
thank
actually
you.
means a lot to me. So I'm Guillermo Diaz,
Yes, you are.
and I started my, actually why this means a lot is this place right here. I was, early days, when I came to Silicon Valley right out of the Navy, my first job was in Silicon Valley and as a tech guy. But we started our first organization at Cisco for the Hispanic community called Conexión. We had our first meeting to bring it together
Right.
at National Hispanic University
Okay.
and Mexican Heritage Plaza.
Wow.
I think we still call it Mexican Heritage Plaza.
School of the Arts, culture, school.
But
what is it?
it was here where we really started our roots. So
there you go.
it's almost a full circle moment.
I love that.
So
We didn't even know that when we invited you. So I'm not sure if we're able to put up our slides, but the next one would be just introduction to to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about. This, I think, the best way that I think we should start this, G, is let's give everyone, especially our viewers at home, our live stream viewers, a little bit of background about Conectado. Then I'll go ahead and share a little bit more about Divina World Foundation, and then we can make the big announcement.
yeah, let's make sure we back it up. I thought I'd kick it off with that, but
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
But I think starting with why. Guillermo Diaz. I come from a place. I was just looking it up right now because I did do a DNA sort of thing but it was a sample called Somos Ancestry.
Okay.
And Somos Ancestry actually looked at deeper into your Native American heritage. Right. So I actually have it here. So just so everyone knows, and why this is also important, I'm Mexican, from Mexican background, but I have 37% Southwest Europe, 7% Jewish. I somehow got that in there, but the rest is Native American.
Right.
So I always used to joke that I was Aztec warrior, and it was true.
It's true.
It's true. So I'm there's like 7 or 8 different tribes that make up this guy.
Right.
Okay. So the most significant tribe is Nahua, which is the Aztec tribe. I'm just saying. Okay. The second is Zapotec, which I think they fought with each other, but and then the next is Triqui, and then it goes on and on. It's Amazonas. Maya's like 0, not Maya. So the Aztec obviously were taller, so that's why I went with that route.
Already with the short jokes.
But I'm just, this is why Indigenous, this Indigenous event, it means a lot to me. But
Thank you.
Stepping back, Conectado.
Right. Do you want to show the video?
I will in a second,
Okay.
but let me tell you a little bit about Conectado.
Perfect.
And so Conectado, as everyone knows, means connected, right? And
It's in the word.
Huh?
It's in the word.
It's in the word. But it's also, it means a lot to me because of the, sort of my journey. And the journey really started, my father was from Mexico. My mom was born in the U.S., but in the Mexican camps in southern Colorado. And so I was born in Pueblo, Colorado. So Pueblo means a lot. So every time I talk about that is I talk about how I got from Pueblo to the classroom, and my classroom was the U.S. Navy. They didn't have a lot of money, so I went to U.S. Navy, and And so that was my classroom. To my career, which was mostly here in Silicon Valley. I grew my career here at Cisco mostly, Cisco Systems, and then to the boardroom. So the connected tissue along that journey. How do you connect from where you come from to the classroom, to your career, and to the boardroom? I happen to sit on the boards of Blue Shield, which is one of the largest health providers in the nation. And I'm on the board of Jack in the Box. So we feed them, and then we have to give them health. But the point is that how do you help the next generation through this journey?
Right. Exactly.
And how do we do that in a way that connects with this next generation? And so as we were building that, when I left Cisco, I thought we need to think about an ecosystem of how do you connect from classroom to career to boardroom, but how do you connect that learner, and we're all learners, to the resources, to the mentors, ultimately to the organizations that would hire them. And how do you connect that, aka Conectado, right?
Perfect.
And so we came up with a platform, and that turned into a game.
Right.
And that turned into a metaverse.
Right.
And that turned into connecting and so forth. So if we can show the video of what it looks like to give people an idea.
Right. Well, it's conectado, right? Connecting the opportunities.
Connecting the opportunities from the classroom. So how do you accelerate those? And so if you look at the video, it gives you an idea for what we're talking about. So I want to say a little bit about that. And if you watched it closely, a lot of the colors, a lot of the, you think about the trees even they look like where we come from.
Exactly.
Right? The people look like where we come from. And so we wanted to have that as part of at least the first piece of that. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong, Conectado is for everyone. Yeah. And so if we look at the demographics, and before I came in here, we had our graduation of our latest cohort.
Woohoo, congratulations.
Which was a partnership that we have with Stanford University. And so that's a bioinformatics, right, which teaches learning about AI, how AI meets healthcare, meets right, data science. And that boot camp happened, and they just graduated. We were doing simultaneous boot camps, and we also have an artificial intelligence boot camp. So these students, some of them went into bioinformatics, some of them went into AI, some of them did both, mm-hmm, right? And so we've had learners in this platform as early as 14 and as late as 56. Right. So a learner for us is anyone who wants to be a part of this. Now, the main demographic happens to be those that are probably in the range of 17 going into college, mm-hmm, to about 26. That's our primary. But if you think about and everybody loves music.
That's right.
And so we go, it's like, hey, look at the demographic and look at what what you're trying to do.
Right.
And Carmen.
It's a natural fit.
It's a
natural fit, right? Because, I started to say this earlier, when you don't see yourself as a musician, as a lyricist, as a writer, as a performer, when you don't see yourself out there, you do wonder. You wonder, wow, is anybody going to be interested in what I'm creating, the music that I'm wanting to share, the message that I want to share? And for me, growing up, I'm just going to side note here really quickly, but the only person that I saw out there while I was growing up was Linda Ronstadt, which I know that, we talked about earlier. And to realize, to understand that the Eagles were her backup band. When they first started, they were her backup band. And so for me, this is going to sound a little out there, but that's who I am. That's who I've always been. I used to journal, and I used to write in my diary, and I was writing to Linda Ronstadt. I wrote to her, and I expressed all these feelings, and I asked her questions, and I dreamt that one day I'd be able to interview her, and I dreamt that one day I'd be able to talk to her. It hasn't happened yet, but I am putting it out there now. But
well, it's going to go on Expand TV,
exactly.
So she's probably one of the billion viewers that are watching, right?
So, but I bring that up because in my vision as the founder, and creating a world where every artist, whether you're transgender, whether you are 57, whether you are 14, whether you are someone who is creating music and art that you want to share with the world, but where do you strive for? I wanted a place where we're bridging and connecting, right? The new generation and the elder generation, but also celebrating our roots, honoring our ancestors. And that's why this project that we're working on, that we're going to dive into a little bit deeper, but that's why it's named the Indigenous and World Music Hall of Fame Museum and Library. Because what I believe, which are conversations that G and I have had throughout these last few months, putting together the plan, how are we going to, how are we going to monetize? How are we going to be sustainable? I mean, it took us, 9 months working on this together? And, we came up with this plan to make sure that we are not building something that is temporary. We're building something that is long-lasting, that will be here way after we're gone. But the idea is this concept of music and art, just like cultural stories, the important storytelling that our elders have, but how do you connect them to our younger generation, because they aren't living in the same spaces. They're inhabiting different spaces. How do we connect them together? And G, if you don't mind, I mean, you and Sammy, when we had our first meeting about, here's this crazy lady with this idea of she wants to do what?
Emphasize the crazy lady.
She wants to build a what and a where on our platform, and then we started talking about it. And I'd love to hear your perspective of, besides the crazy part, but then when you started saying, well, wait a minute, this is kind of cool, and then you started, putting your spin on it, and then that's how we started having this
I think
journey.
And if you watch the video, right, when the crazy lady came to me and said that, I'm thinking about doing this in the metaverse, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because for me, and by the way, I learned, I come from large tech. I come from Cisco. But metaverse to me was like, what the heck is that, right? And I learned that, and I learned it from some of these young folks that you're going to hear from next. Yeah. Is like, hey, that we live in games. We live in that world. It's like, okay, so how do we put gaming and this ecosystem together? And then when we first rolled out Conectado, we had a homegrown metaverse that we built, and it was called Exify. And when we did it, we put it in front of students. Right. who were in there, and they were like, "This is crap," right? And but the capabilities, that was what they were really interested in.
Right.
And then we turned it around and said, "Well, help us help you."
Exactly.
And so you had gamers in here that were giving us feedback real time, and so we learned. And now we're on, like, when we show the world to the gaming industry, they're just like, "Holy smokes! This is like next level.
Right.
This is like Battlefield 6 kind of level, right?" And so when you walk into our main building, which people think it's a real building, but you walk in, if you notice that piece of art when you walk in, and it's called Seeing the Future, it's actually a real, it's a real mural.
Uh-huh.
But you see the young lady with indigenous sort of like the mountains and the indigenous colors in the back, and she's looking to the future, and she's got this gamer headset on. Right? And so it's like that she's a representation of what's possible.
Right, exactly.
And
oops, sorry.
and so when you first saw that, I'm like, we can build a room.
Yeah.
For us, it's just, we already have the platform.
Right.
Let's build a room.
Yeah.
But then that turned into, well, what if we had our own world, G? And it's like, all we have to do is replicate what we
Exactly.
do. And so it doesn't make sense for you to go and try to do that yourself. You can. We can give you some mentorship, but it's just easier if.
Absolutely. Again, I think it's that conversation and having the excitement with you and Sammy and designing it, being able to translate what's in my head, and then you saying, well, we've got the real estate, we've got the team, we can build it together. And it went from this, one module, one, sort of portal to, well, wait a minute, we can have this whole corridor, and you can enter in all these different worlds. And I love this part about the students helping to build it, because that's the same thing that's happening with DIVINA World Foundation. The majority of my volunteers and our interns they're young people from the East Coast, from Kenya, from Seattle. Their backgrounds are varied. If you don't mind, I'd love to show a work in progress of our logo.
Let's see the concept. Right?
Yes.
This is
yes.
Right?
Exactly. So it's getting their feedback, their input of what DIVINA World Foundation represents to them, and them participating, getting excited. So it's a similar journey that we're having, and I know we'll show that in a minute, but this is one of the artists, and I'm going to sort of side note again, one of the co-founders, one of the three people before I met you, before I was talking to you and Sammy about this, I had shared this vision for DIVINA World Foundation with three people, and one of them was my music partner. He was in my life for almost 20 years, and he recently passed away, but he was one of the first people that encouraged me to go forward and make this happen for musicians and artists from around the world. And this logo design, that it's not the final yet, I thought we were almost there, but we have some tweaks to make. But this piece, this logo design, is created for us by his daughter. And so she's an artist and all of that, and she wanted to be a part of it because that helps me to retain my connection with my co-founder, who's not here, and he's not going to be able to see the end result. But I do this for him and for my mommy.
I think the other thing too, as you think about this, and as we are building, and we're bringing our community into Conectado, these learners that are going into artificial intelligence, they're going into these STEM types of learning. Is they're also, like, everybody is here listens to music, right? And so a natural extension is and we have something that you'll hear about next called the AI backpack. A natural extension of that is, what if we gamify the music component of that and put it in your backpack?
Right.
And what if that was a value add to carry your backpack, and you could have a connection off to Apple Music or to Google Music or to
Sony,
YouTube or wherever it goes, and those end up being sponsors of these programs.
Exactly.
So it's an ecosystem that we just, from Conectado, the connected nucleus, we continue to build more and more ideas. We just, as I said, we just did this graduation, and the students, for their project, they build an app.
Right.
They actually build an app.
Right.
And so they, some of those have to do with music, some of them have to do with education, but it's an interesting next connection. It's like, oh yeah, music is part of my life anyway, right?
Exactly. And part of that, I think, is it speaks to where we have data on where a lot of our young people are spending their time. 62% of Hispanic, Latino youth is spending their time in the metaverse and live streaming. 78% of Gen Z is spending their time there. So it's a natural place for us to start, to connect our elders, to have them tell stories. And it's not just the metaverse, right? Like, I know that Conectado has all this other ability to use multimedia. Real interview videos, for example, that can be a part of the Indigenous and World Music Hall of Fame Museum and Library. All these different experiences, like you talked about earlier, to help connect people and build those bridges. Some elders do not want to be a part of the metaverse, but when you explain it to them that we'll do a regular video and we can feature you as part of the experience, then it becomes okay. It's a different...
Are we elders?
Well, you're probably younger than I am, G, so I guess I'm speaking for myself. But this is what happens. I think it's learning what it is that someone wants to say and who they want to share it with, and then being able to connect the dots for them and show them a different way. What was the, and working with this crazy lady, what was the experience of working together? How did you feel when we first started, when we thought, wow, this is a lot? Because we both had those thoughts.
It doesn't make sense for you to go try to do this on your own. We've already done this. We have a blueprint around it. We have a playbook around it from a platform perspective. And it's like, let's see what's possible. And if we can pull something off, then great. And if we can't, we've learned something new. Or we can go give direction to someone that can actually get it done. But if you don't, like you say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Correct.
Right? So let's take a look at it.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us share that with you. That is part of the vision. I do want to say a huge thank you and shout out to Camille Garrick and Expand ITV for putting that together for us, for taking some of the ideas in my head and being able to translate it for me. I also wanted to mention the music that you heard is a piece that was co-written by myself and Mr. Rich Armstrong, who, again, was one of the first people to encourage me to go forward and build this. So I do want to also talk about the cultural preservation idea and the aspect of this. We do have a slide coming up, if we could pull that up. But in the meantime, did you know that there are organizations and there are summits taking place around the world right now based on the idea of climate change and how it is affecting Native American, island nations, tribal nations, and there was a summit the summer 2024 in Hawaii. There were over 18 island leaders, government officials that came together. And the top 3 concerns that they had are, of course, the rising sea levels and losing their homes, their islands. That was the first one. The second concern they had was, where are their people going to go? Where are they going to be displaced to? Because you've got to plan for this. And the third, which was a surprise to me, their third concern, G, was how are they going to preserve their cultures when their people are no longer together living on their island and sharing their practices and their traditions with their young people, because they're going to be dispersed and who knows where. And that was the moment for me where DIVINA World Foundation is a part of the solution. And a part of the solution is being able to keep everyone connected in the metaverse. One of the reasons that we need to be concerned about what's happening to island nations and other tribal nations is we're losing indigenous languages, and we're losing them every 2 weeks. More than 40% of the world's 6,700 languages are endangered, and this is by a report by UNESCO. So I just wanted to point that out, that there's multiple reasons and why we're doing this. And I'm really grateful, G, to you, to Conectado, to your team, to everyone involved for understanding or helping me to, translate what we're trying to do. Because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. And I think the final piece that I'd like to leave everyone with is the idea that nonprofits do not have to have that old mentality of, just being nonprofits and not being sustainable and not being profitable. Actually, that's not the word I can use. Sustainable is the word that I should use. But the model that you and I have created together, there is a reason for, the other reason for the partnership is DIVINA World Foundation is its own nonprofit entity. So people can donate to help us on our mission, and they can support us in that way, in the traditional nonprofit way. But we also were coached along the way with our incubator for nonprofits, and the suggestion came, well, I asked the question, but what if someone wants to invest? And having a partner like you, G, was amazing, because we can have that opportunity. And if you don't mind, talking about how an investor can be a part of the Indigenous and World Music Hall of Fame project.
Well, I think it gives us two paths, right? One is if someone wants to donate and gain, tax benefit from that. But there's also folks that want to go, well, we see something here in this technology journey that we want to invest in, and that's for the for-profit side. And so it actually, even launched the idea of, and we in Conectado, we've also created with the help of my wife, created a nonprofit called Classroom to Career. And in classroom to career, they can invest there, they can donate into the boot camps that help our students. So we have multiple ways now, if working in this particular format, where someone could be, provide a donation, or they could be an investor, and it's a multi-path opportunity, right?
And one final thought, we're wrapping it up. One final thought is we also are hoping that, again, the purpose of the summit is to share best practices, to share new ideas, that as a nonprofit, you don't have to do things the way that they've always been done. There are other avenues to take that could help make you sustainable. If you think like a for-profit, like a startup, like a tech company, there's other ways to support your mission. So thank you all very much. We appreciate you. And if you have any questions, please see us afterwards. By honoring our ancestors, we honor ourselves. By celebrating our roots, we learn who we are. Música, unity, arte, pride. Culture, comunidad. Generaciones. Familia, creativity, self-expression, and joy. Mucha alegría. For you, for us. Join us on this journey to create the Indigenous and World Music Hall of Fame. Donate today at DivinaWorldFoundation.org.